Hey guys, it's Eric with the Miller Park Minute, where we're throwing strikes and getting likes, hitting dingers, and getting listeners. Back again with another podcast. This is a Saturday edition of the podcast. We do these every Saturday at 4 o'clock. We are a little late, 4:06. Took a second to fire it up, but we're going to talk Brew Crew on a Saturday. It's it's been a while since I've done a Saturday, so we'll cover the news and what's going on. Obviously, there has been a whole lot of nothing going on in the first couple days of the 2025 year. The 2025 season um, is yet to get underway. Pitchers and catchers have yet to report, so we're really just kind of reviewing and talking about what we expect and what we will see in 2025. That being said, we've got new segments coming this year, um, primarily live. I skipped yesterday just due to busyness of the day, but it's going to typically be an everyday type of thing. So come on in, have a seat, enjoy yourself. We are going to try and take over the podcast waves for Milwaukee Brewers baseball. I think it's definitely something that needs to be done. We need a better source for podcasting in 2025. So today, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the latest info at brewersfanatic.com. Like I said, I am a part of that website. I have had an affiliation with them for a couple of years. So we're going to talk about brewersfanatic.com. We're going to talk about some of the upcoming articles, as I like to do. I love to read the stories and talk to you guys about them. That's my primary function here. Just love talking Brewers baseball. Um, and 2025 is the year where I get back into it. So that being said, um, please feel free to put any comments or questions that you have for me. I did get one the other day, and I like the fact that I can communicate with you guys and give you thoughts on something that maybe I didn't say necessarily, or somebody I don't mention. And it's not. There's just a lot of players. It's not that I don't care about certain players or um, those types of things. I just don't mention them if they're not in top of mind for me. So that being said, we are going to be starting to get the podcast going. I know I said this the other day, but it's just taken a little longer than I expected. We're going to be starting to get the audio podcast going on the audio platforms: Apple, Spotify, Google. Um, for whatever reason, the feeder source that I was using isn't the same. Something to do with Spotify. It's changed. I don't know. But that being said, it will be fixed here hopefully in the next week or so. I've got to spend some time with it, and it's just one of those things that prior to prior to now it was automatic and it was easy, and now I think it's just trying to get access to the page that uploads it. So that being said, let's go into today's topic. Uh oh, we disconnected and reconnected. Sorry about that. Um, yeah, it's just one of those things. So we are going to get there along the way. It's just pieces of the puzzle that have to be reconfigured once the technology changes. Once they change something, I have to change something in my process, and so on and so forth. So there is an article here talking about the trades that have been made by Arnold, and I'd like to go through and just kind of give you a brief trade, and then I'm going to give you a kind of a thoughts or where they are now. So Milwaukee Brewers, this is the some of the first trades from Matt Arnold as GM. Milwaukee Brewers trade Remington Batista to the Marlins for Peyton Henry. I don't know if you guys remember, Peyton Henry um, it was kind of short lived. He didn't really go very far with us. It says he is now with the Phillies. So that is one that we didn't end up actually hearing of the guy. 2022 player to be named later, who was Victor Castaneda to the Tampa Bay Rays, his old friends, for Javi Guerra. Guerra's 8 games he pitched, he saw an 8.64 ERA. Another one that didn't turn out, which happens with a lot of these minor transactions. They just don't turn out. We traded Hunter Renfroe to the Angels for Jansen Junk and Elvis Berguo and Adam Seminaris. Obviously, we know how that one turned out. Junk has been very good for us, so has Berguo. He later traded Colton Wong to Seattle for cash. And outfielder Jesse Winker. Shout out Jesse Winker. We know what happened there. Infielder Abraham Turo both had short time with the crew. This is the biggest one in my eyes. They traded Esteuries to the Athletics, received Joel Payamps from Oakland, and catcher William Contreras and Justin Yeager, I think that's how it's pronounced, again, from the Atlanta Braves. Obviously, we know William Contreras was a key piece. Joel Payamps is a key piece of the team right now. Traded player to be named later, turned out to be cash, to Cleveland for Owen Miller. Owen Miller did have a good time. He just didn't really get a lot of playtime in the long run. Traded cash to Pittsburgh for Bryce Wilson. We know how Bryce Wilson turned out. He was pretty good for us. Justin Topas to Seattle for Joseph Hernandez. That's not one that I know of. He's still an A-ball, so that's why we haven't really heard too much about him. Trade cash to Cincinnati for Bennett Sosa. Sosa spent a lot of time injured already, so traded Javi Guerra to Tampa for a player to be named later. Turned out we got cash back in the deal. Basically, that was a reversal trade. Traded Lucas Ekra to Oakland for cash. Tyson Miller to the Dodgers for cash. So that's just a sampling. That's part one of the trades. Good article here. Really breaks things down. I think that's one of those ones. That's a good top piece. That's by our friend Jim Goulart over at Brewer Fanatic. Again, this website, this community is really great. If you get into the weeds with these people, it's good stuff because there's actually a good positive community, and Brewer Fanatic has really put the effort into that, bringing in the video. Just a couple articles off the top. Freddie Peralta is tipping his pitches, but reforming his mechanics and breaking ball shape could fix him. Brewers land sidearm, Grant Anderson, we know that already. We talked about that. The highlight here for me of this section, obviously, is these videos. And there's some good stuff with these guys. I haven't dove into this in a hot minute, but I'll tell you that if you go over and dive in with these guys and look at the videos, David Go, friend of the show, if you haven't seen his videos, he does a great job. He's put a lot of time in my absence. David Go, I think, is one of the better guys. And of course, you guys probably all have your follows and everybody you follow. Really, at this juncture, for me, it's just about getting good information out there. Who's going to get the best information for crew fans, and who's going to do a good job? And I think that's the next best thing. So again, that website, Brewer Fanatic, I'm not going to go through every article like I typically like to do because I don't want to get into the weeds too bad. We're still in this kind of hot stove free agency period. McCalvy's got an article about what the 2025 season will have in store. Basically, he's talking about new closer and new shortstop. Technically, I think the shortstop is going to come from within, and I know the closer is going to come from within. Our team has remained relatively unchanged. Aaron Ashby could be a breakout this year. Aaron Ashby essentially came back from injuries. He's been kind of touch and go. A couple of our rookies are. Another one, Garrett Mitchell. I think he's set to be a comeback. There is a shortstop in the system. I would be remiss to not mention Jesus Made. Jesus Made, or Jesus Made, however they want to pronounce that. He really broke in within 2024. He's the number 4 overall prospect at this point. I think he's a switch hitter. He's a guy we're going to hear the name of quite a bit. Cooper Pratt's another one. He was minor league player of the year along with Jesus Made. League pitchers Craig Yoho and Casey Hunt. Another prediction that McKelvey states here is Christian Yelich's comeback player of the year. I don't know how many times that guy can be up for that award, but sure. That's a rather brief article from McKelvey. He usually goes a little more in depth. Worth a read. As I talked about, I really think that the 2025 crew is going to be relatively similar to the 2024 crew. You're just going to miss that big Willy Adames factor, and that Willy Adames factor could be. I mean, it could be very detrimental, but at the same time, I don't know that the rest of the division has got heads and tails better. That's my thought process. I mean, if we look at NL Central moves so far, there has really not been anything crazy. Now, we are only on, what are we at? January 4th? Saturday, January 4th. Now, as you guys know, and as I've mentioned, Christian Yelich and Lorenzo Cain weren't signed until almost the Brewers on deck, the year that they were brought to the crew. So I think that's important to realize. Those are the factors. I mean, do I think that there's a signing in the works? No, I don't. But that's when we get the best signings, is the guys that we don't know are in the works. I am not a fan of rumors. I think I've said this before, but I'm not a fan of the rumors of Major League Baseball. I think, hearing that the Brewers are in on Crochet and then getting the disappointment that Boston gets them is it's just not good. Here's another article. ESPN, Sports Illustrated writes, Brewers flamethrower poised to break out. So what they're talking about here in this article is, who are we talking about? 2025 should be a fun one. Milwaukee will surely get great from parties like Christian Yelich, William Contreras. But M. McKelvey pegged lefty Aaron Ashby. So this is an article off of an article, which is funny. He had too many. It says here he had too many breakouts in 2022 when he was signed to a 5-year contract extension. Another late last season when he returned from 2 tough injuries. Like I said, Ashby's been injured. He was delivered a 1.98 ERA, 20 strikeouts in 13 2/3 relief appearances in September. That's where they say he is poised to break out. Here's another one that we should have an eye on, an $26 million star. Who are they talking about? There we got Nestor Cortez, they're saying. Oh, Jose Quintana. Oh, my God. can we just make this one happen? Like, I've wanted Jose Quintana for years. And he's been everywhere. I mean, he's been all around us. I definitely think that would be guys over at Sports Heroics saying that we're going to make a first all-star team as pitcher. Third base prospect predicted to make first all-star team as a pitcher. What? Oh, Lucas Ekra. They're talking about Lucas Ekra. I was like, what? I was so confused. Lucas Ekra was a former prospect of the Brewers. Obviously, he got traded to Oakland, and he's pitching. I mean, there's just not much for content here, guys. There's really not. I wish there was. I wish there was more on a Saturday in late January. But this is the format. We're gonna come back on Saturdays. We're gonna talk. I'd say a weekly basis. We're gonna come in. We're gonna talk. We're gonna talk about the crew. Talk about trades. God, right now nothing on the trade rumors. I mean, even across the league. I mean, everybody, all the front offices must be taking the week off. Christmas, New Year's week is always a weird week for business in general. Let's click on the page and just refresh it. Shoe fly, don't bother me. Yeah, they're writing breakdowns at this point. They are writing breakdowns. Justin Verlander is drawing interest from multiple teams. Let's talk about this for a minute. Justin Verlander and Mad Max are still in the free agency pool. I think at some point somebody wrote something that Max Scherzer would be a good fit for the Brewers. These are pipe dreams for me just because I would love to see them don a Brewers uniform. But I don't think there's much reality there unless they're going to take a hefty pay cut to become Brewers. Both of them are legendary pitchers, kind of the last of the old breed, old style of pitcher, a guy who would go out there and pitch 7 or 8 innings. Verlander is a surefire Hall of Famer. Same with Max. Guys started in Detroit, have played a little bit of everywhere. 42 years old, so there's plenty of upside. Doesn't say who is in on him, though. It just says they're drawing interest. He's drawing interest. Santander has gotten a contract offer from the Blue Jays. Oh, let's talk about this one real quick. This is one I already kind of talked about. Willie. Willie got what he deserved out in San Francisco. I fully feel that. I think Willie was a value add for any team that added him, especially at the shortstop position, because that is a crucial position. $182 million. Could the Brewers afford it? Yes, probably. Why didn't they? Well, we all know they're cheap. They're going to fill it from within. I'm going to miss Willie. I like Willie. But at the same time, I think we just have to kind of have less emotion overall with these type of moves. As far as Corbin Burns now, I was very upset when they traded him away. We did get some good pieces from that deal, and obviously the Orioles did not re-sign, did not net a benefit because they did not get a World Series out of that trade. So he wasn't that one more piece for them, but he signed for $210 million to the D-backs. Good contract for him. I think that's great. He probably didn't end up going to like a Dodgers or something like that just for the fact that he lives out in Arizona and he wants to train closer to home. I mean, that's Good for him. I mean, $210 million for Burns. Good deal. He's still going to be one of the top pitchers in the league. O's went out and got Charlie Morton. Ha-Seong Kim, who is rumored to be a potential Brewer, did sign with the Dodgers. So that one kind of sucks. Actually, McKelvey's article did mention that, but I skipped that portion because I knew he had already signed with the Dodgers. So Jack Flaherty is still out there. It'll be interesting to see what he draws, if he draws a big market team. I again, never have enough pitchers. The Dodgers have 9 starting pitchers potentially going into the season. So everyone who says we should trade from that position, I think that was actually a take by Chuck, that we should trade because we have too many. And if you look at the modern game over the last couple of years, we've used so many players. I don't think that's a good idea. Let's see, is there a... I'm just looking to see if there's a tool. Okay, here it is. There's actually a list. So what do we need? We need a third base or a shortstop. Let's look at potential guys that we could get. Kevin Biggio, he's kind of broken. I don't think that would be a good idea. If we got him, Ahmed Rosario is available. Brendan Rodgers. Rodgers would make sense. Rodgers would make a lot of sense. Shortstops, Nick Ahmed. Tim Anderson, no. Ha-Seong Kim is off the board. Bregman's still out there. Juan Moncada. That would be a good one. Luis Urias. We could reunite with Luis Urias. As far as Vogel's available, let's get Vogel. Bring Vogel back. I mean, you could make a case for a lot of these guys, I think, to become Brewers again. Tellez. Can bring Tellez back, have a backup. Little first base depth. Paul DeYoung. I don't know. I don't know who I would see as a fit for our shortstop. If it's going to be Turang, it's going to be Turang, which Turang has got a good glove and could be worthwhile. But I just don't know. I don't see a good fit there. I don't know, guys. Drop your comments who you think free agents we should look at. I'll give you my take on them, and we'll get back with that topic. I apologize. Today's episode is just a little flat, just because there's nothing there. Like, I mean, there wasn't any podcasts from our guys over at Talking Baseball. They're just, news has been flat as flat can be. That's why they're breaking down what's happened out there. Of course, we will continue to follow the stories. We'll probably come back tomorrow evening during football time, and we'll have some content for you then. But we'll talk more about it. I'm gonna dive more into these free agents and see kind of who's available that we could use at this juncture. I just don't know. I mean, and who are the Brewers gonna get? You know what I mean? Like, that's the game that I always play with this, is like, what, who do you think the Brewers are going to trade for? I don't know. I really don't, guys. And if I did, I probably wouldn't be doing a podcast on the internet. I'd probably be in the front office or something of that nature. I'm going to call this a short episode today just because there's just not much in the news cycle. There's not much to read through. We're at that beginning point. You know what I mean? We're starting. But I wanted to come on and talk for a little bit and just kind of review a couple things. So, as always, guys, this is the Miller Park Minute, where we throw strikes and get likes. You guys have a great rest of your day, and thank you for watching.